So the BPT of 5%, do you think that can already be brought back to?
I have made my
4%?
position about that, and I have said that I don't want it rolled back. I'd like to see what fiscal year 2020 and fiscal year 2021 gives, because as a result of what has happened, we were able to actually also close the gap as a result of President Trump's Jobs Act legislation that took away about 68 million from our general fund. So those are the kinds of things that I am really looking at, Heidi, before, and I, like I have said, I have spoken to many business leaders also, and they are okay with the 5%.
Will that stay at least until fiscal year 2021? So 2022, there might be a
I would like
consideration.
for it to stay, and I'd like for it to stay forever.
Might be a
I would like
consideration.
for it to stay, and I'd like for it to stay forever.
Might be a
I would like
consideration.
for it to stay, and I'd like for it to stay forever. If we start collecting more, and if we have other new sources of revenue to make up for that, then yeah, that's something that we can look at.
Forever. 5%.
That's what I would like, yeah.
Good evening. I'm Ken Leon-Guerrero. It's Saturday night, February 5th, and I'm here on the porch here in Santa Rita, having the third meeting of the voter initiative. So let's look at the state of our island right now. As you may have heard, I've got a new software package and I'm learning how to use it. And I'm having a little bit of a glitch at the moment, but I should have this worked out. And here we go. State of the island. The state of our island is not good right now. On one hand, the governor would have you believe that things are incredible and it's all because of her administration. But what she doesn't tell you is that coming into 2019, by December, the government of Guam was seriously in financial trouble. It was only with the arrival of COVID and hundreds of millions of dollars, literally billions of dollars of federal funds, that government of Guam did not go deep into the red. Unfortunately, I can't say the same thing for the people. The people went deep into the red, as nearly 40,000 people lost their jobs for some period of time. And even today, thousands of people are still unemployed or underemployed and struggling to find a way to put food on the table and keep their utilities on and a roof over their head. The challenge that these people are facing is the fact that all the government assistance programs are over. PUA is gone and the social safety net is shredding. What do we do from here? Well, over the past 3 years, this administration and the 35th and the 36th Guam legislatures have proved themselves more loyal to Adelup, more loyal to politically well-connected insiders than they are to the people who elected them. And to that end, we need to change things. Because what we have right now is a government, hold on a second, a government of politicians, by politicians, and for politicians, instead of a government of the people, by the people, for the people. And the only way we're going to change that starts with changing some fundamental things that are wrong with our government, starting with the legislature. The first initiative, as you can hear, it's Saturday night here in Santa Rita. And I hope you enjoy the music as well as you're enjoying the presentation. But the first initiative is to eliminate the primary election. The primary election only serves one purpose, and that is to limit people's access to political office. The way the political systems are set up, especially around the primary election system, it takes a lot of money to get elected. And for most first-time candidates, the amount of money you have to raise to win a seat or win in the primary limits most people and eliminates the possibility of them ever serving the people of Guam. The primary election only serves political parties, and if you remember back in 2018, I think it was, 2016, when the Democratic Party almost decertified Mike Nicholas because he refused to sign the Democrat Party loyalty pledge. Think about that. The parties were more concerned that a candidate sign a loyalty pledge to the party than pledge loyalty to the people of Guam. So we need to eliminate the primary election to make it possible for new candidates to run for office. The second initiative is to go to a part-time legislature. Guam had a part-time legislature for decades, and a part-time legislature allowed many of the best and brightest people of Guam to step forward and offer their service to the people of Guam. And it worked. Some of the best laws written were written during those part-time legislatures. But what we've got right now is a legislature that claims to be full-time, but in reality it's not. I mean, Vice Speaker Tina Munoz Barnes has been in Arizona for 6 months. And a lot of the times when you try to talk with senators, they're not in their offices. They're at wakes, birthday parties, retirement parties, fundraisers. Those are things they should be doing off season. And when they're on a part-time legislature, they'll have plenty of time to do that. A part-time legislature makes it possible for the best and brightest among us to run for public office without having to sacrifice their businesses or walk away from careers. The third is return to 21 senators. Right now with 15 senators, we've got too much power concentrated in too few hands. We have too many people sitting on too many committees, and as a result, a lot of important stuff never gets addressed. So by going to a part-time legislature, opening it up to more people to serve, 21 senators will give them the opportunity to serve. The next one is the Corrupt Practice Act. Now, the Corrupt Practices Act, because we all know stories of where government officials or government employees abused their power and authority or made mistakes that cost taxpayers millions of dollars. I mean, my God, look at the port situation. I think we're knocking on $3.5–4 million just in one case. And then there's the case of the Agate mayor, Kevin Siswico, who applied for a job he wasn't qualified for, but he didn't hide it. You know, it's just that whoever hired him, and then the taxpayers got stuck to the tune of hundreds of thousands of dollars in settlements. And I'm not blaming Kevin for that. That was a mistake made by the management of the port. But what happened to the manager? Nothing. You see, it's called the moral hazard of politics. When people don't pay penalties for the risks they take with our money, then they're less likely to make good decisions. And that's why we need to have the Corrupt Practices Act. Now, I have sued government of Guam a couple of times over things I perceive to be wrong. My latest case was I filed against the Department of Administration when they passed a law to provide control over the government of Guam group account to Guam Regional Medical Center. I call it the Corporate Welfare Bill. It was later ruled illegal by the federal court. I'm still in the local court, and I'm at the Guam Supreme Court right now because the case has changed. Now I'm battling politicians who want to make it impossible for taxpayers and citizens to hold government officials and agencies accountable. It's important we win this case, and it's also important that we pass this initiative. Hold on, there we go. And the next one is, oh, I bet I missed the slide. There we go. The next initiative is to return the Attorney General to being appointed by the governor, because over this elected Attorney General system hasn't worked for the people of Guam. I've been told numerous times by different Attorney Generals that I cannot bring an action to the Attorney General's office. Only the governor can. Well, I thought they represented us. I thought the people elected them. But apparently that's not the way the elected Attorney General's office functions. So my initiative proposal is that we make the Attorney General an appointed position once again, since he's going to represent the government, and we create an elected public prosecutor. Think of us having our own Jack McCoy, you know, a person who's elected to an office solely for the purpose of prosecuting criminals and white-collar crime and fraud. That's what we need. Then and only then will we begin to eliminate the corruption that we see taking place at all levels of government in Guam. And the sixth initiative is to revise the OPA and make him empower the Office of Public Accountability. Now, when I say empower the Office of Public Accountability, what we're talking about is, hold on here. Okay. There we go. Right now, the Office of Public Accountability oversees billions of dollars in government spending. It oversees hundreds of millions of dollars of government contracts. But the legislature cut their budget, and they had to release auditors at a time when hundreds of millions, literally billions of dollars of federal funds are coming onto our island and being so badly abused by this administration. But the Attorney General won't do anything about it, hasn't done anything about it. The public auditor has raised concerns, but he's limited. With this initiative, we give him a budget that the legislature can't touch. It would be a small percentage of the business privilege tax. I'm sure most businesses would be pleased to see part of that tax used to make sure the government is run honestly, fairly, and every dollar is accounted for properly. After all, it's our money. And the public auditor needs the power to subpoena and prosecute people, independent of the Attorney General's office. Then and only then will we get the kind of relief we need as taxpayers, because over the past 11 years, the economy of Guam has remained stagnant, but the budget of government in Guam has doubled. Here we are in the middle of a pandemic, so-called pandemic, I mean, we've been at this for 24 months. We know how to do this. But that's another discussion for later. And yet, we have hundreds of millions of dollars that have been misused and abused. The Attorney General isn't going to do anything about it. The legislature hasn't done anything about it. So it's going to come down to us as taxpayers and voters to do something about it. In the Declaration of Independence, there's this little clause called consent to the governed. Governments exist at the consent of the governed. That's us. And that consent takes place every 2 years. So in 2022, we get a chance to recreate our government. We can hit the reset button. And with this election and with these initiatives, we can once again make this government a government of people, by people, and for people. I'm Ken Leon-Guerrero. If you have any questions or comments, you can send them to me at kenleonguerrero@yahoo.com. Let me put it back up there. Or you can call and leave a message on my cell phone at 671-727-4321. Together, working together, we can help make Guam a better place for all of us. But, you know, the work of democracy is hard. It requires each and every one of us to stand up for our rights. And the way we do that is we start by passing these initiatives to make it easier to replace the professional politicians that inhabit our government now with dedicated public servants. So you can go back to the Candidate News Group Facebook page or web page and look at the other presentations I did today, because each presentation covers a different topic in addition to the initiatives. And next Saturday, the 12th, we will have 3 more presentations, and you can see the schedule. It's in the paper, and I'll be posting it here later. You can either attend the presentations live, or you can watch them online. And the next 3 presentations will have 3 more subjects. You see, politicians hate this. Politicians like us to be kept in the dark, but when we know what's going on, we can make better decisions about who to put in a position of power to wield authority in our name. I'm Ken Leon-Guerrero, and I hope to see you this coming election voting for these initiatives.